We are now talking to Clutch Point's head of video department and NBA writer, Calvin Fong. What's going on, Calvin?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. Tyler, a.k.a. Mothball Harrison, our co-host, wanted to be here because he found out, yesterday before we were announcing you after the show that we were going to get you on today. Speedy was telling us that you used to work for the Golden State Warriors. So he is a big Steph Curry fan, and we're going to get into the whole Steph Curry thing because I got my own thoughts to Steph Curry. But tell the fans a little bit about you. How did you become, working for the video department and now the head of video department and writing for the NBA?
Yeah, well, I didn't work for the Warriors. Maybe write about them a lot is what I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I was a middle school teacher for 6 years. And a while back, I was looking for a new side hobby. When my wife was pregnant with her first child, she went to sleep early, so I needed something to do at nights. And I love the Warriors. I've been a Warriors fan since I was a little kid, and so I wanted a place to write about them. And so I just started freelancing for different sites, different blogs. And then I eventually found a gig at Clutch Points, just doing some writing for them, writing some articles. And then eventually they brought me on into the video department, working part-time, helping make some of their short videos, just 1 minute or less stories about the NBA. And that's led me here, now working full-time with the video department. And so I left teaching just this past year in June. And so I've been at this job for 6 months now, full-time.
Congratulations, by the way. Hard work does pay off, as we all know. As we've been doing the show for a pretty long time, and we're working on some great things, not only what we do on 103.9 FM on Long Island, but on a major network in the very, very near future. But tell us a little bit about your thoughts with Steph Curry breaking the three-point record. A lot of people, a lot of New York fans thought and think that he purposely made sure that he broke the record in Madison Square Garden, which I think is a hilarious thought, but that's just...
I went to the great Spike Lee meme.
Yeah, but whatever the case is, what are your thoughts to Steph Curry breaking the three-point record out of, 780 shots or something like that, some crazy number. The fact that he has 780 three-point shots in such a short time is pretty crazy. But what are your thoughts of him breaking that record by Ray Allen?
I think it was 700 games. Yeah, he did it. And Ray Allen did it in like 1,300. So it's like 500-600 less. But yeah, I don't know if he purposely waited for Madison Square Garden. It does fit a lot of the narratives, though. That's where he had that breakout 54-point game in, 2013? Mm-hmm. And he loves playing in Madison Square Garden. He wanted to be drafted by the Knicks. And so it's amazing. I remember watching him when he just started out his career. I had a lot of doubts as a Warriors fan. Like, is this guy the real deal? He can just shoot. We probably should have kept Monte Ellis instead of him. But now it's just insane to see what he's done and how the league has responded in this whole three-point revolution. And now you got guys chucking threes in transition, and you didn't have that before. And Steph's not the sole guy who started that, but he's certainly a big part of it. So it's been amazing to see, and just a storybook way to do it in New York.
So I want to ask about that specifically, because we know Steph Curry's had a big influence on the game when it comes to the three-point game as a whole, and a lot of these not only big men, but also these point guards that can shoot now too. But it's kind of switching now to where you want wings and also big men that could shoot too, and also that could pass. So do you see that kind of thing becoming the new norm, or do you see it kind of going back to maybe the three-point game with the guards?
Yeah, no, I do see that being a new norm, that it almost seems like a requirement that you need to be able to shoot, to be a wing, be a big man in the league now. And it's moving more towards this positionless basketball, right? Fitting that Draymond's on the team because he's kind of the leader, spearheading that as well. That I think eventually positions are going to go away. And we might still have the titles like point guard, shooting guard, small forward, but really it's just five guys on the court. The best five guys can all shoot, can all pass, can all drive, can all play make. And I think eventually it seems like that's where the league is going with this whole three-point revolution and everybody needing to be able to shoot, and not just on offense, on defense too, what the Warriors have been doing, like their whole switching defense. Everyone's got to be long. Everyone's got to be athletic. And I think the league's also going towards that as well.
We are talking to Clutch Point's head of video department and NBA writer, Calvin Fong. Calvin, you look at the Warriors and look what they've done over the last couple of years, bringing in Kevin Durant, winning all those championships. They've won 3 championships, 2 with Kevin Durant, 1 without him. And a lot of people look at Steph Curry, and they like to give Steph Curry all the compliments, and he's the reason why this team has been so successful. Well, I beg to differ. You have Klay Thompson, who is probably the best two-way player, or one of the best two-way players in the league at his position before he tore his Achilles and then tore his ACL. And then obviously Draymond Green, who is, to me, the roughest, the meanest, and probably the best two-way power forward / center we've seen in the last 12, 13 years, really since Dennis Rodman, okay, what he does and how annoying and how, popular he was on and off the court. So your thoughts to why people think it's Steph Curry and the reason why the Golden State Warriors have been so great is because of Steph Curry.
Yeah. Well, first is optics, right? A team always needs a superstar. And anytime you have a superstar, people often gravitate towards him like he's the reason for all the success, whether that be LeBron, KD, whoever. And so, yeah, Steph is the head of this team. He's the face of the team. And so, of course, people think he's the center. You're right in that it is definitely a team effort. Like, they don't get to where they've gotten without Draymond, for sure. And they don't get to where they've gotten without Klay. But Steph, I think the reason why so many people are saying that he is the focal point is because basically the system doesn't really work without him. Not just shooting. I'm not going to talk about shooting, but all the stuff he does off ball, the screens he's setting. He can draw 2 defenders just by standing in the corner and running around. And that's created open looks for Klay. It's created open dunks for Draymond, Iggy, KD. That's how much other teams fear him. I remember when they had Durant in the finals, it was in transition a few times, and Steph's running to the corner or to the wing, and Kevin Durant's bringing the ball up, and the Cavs defenders went to Steph, and they just allowed a wide open lane to KD, and they'd rather allow KD dunks than to allow a 3 to Steph. And so I think that gravity is also a big reason why he is the center point of this offense and why the team has been so successful. But you're right in that you need all the parts to work. If you take the other guys off the team, even with Steph and his gravity, they don't get to where they've gotten in this whole dynasty without the other guys too.
So I also want to ask about one of the more polarizing debates in this NBA community since he's taken over is Steve Kerr. Some of us, Errol and I both think he's a kind of a figurehead type coach. He's just a product of the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green and the system that they put together, and even the backcourt depth they had on that 2015 team with Sean Livingston and guys like that. And there's also other guys that now think that he kind of invented that kind of thing and not necessarily changed the game, but kind of made that a more modern trend with the scheme he has with the three-pointer. So where do you fall on that?
Yeah, he's had good teams. It's always hard to judge a coach. He came into a really good situation in 2014. Although he did take basically the same core of players that Mark Jackson had in 2013 and before, and he took that team to the next level with his offense and defense. But then to your point that he's kind of just the figurehead, in 2015-16, he was out like the whole first quarter of the season, and then Luke Walton took over, right? And Luke Walton went 24-0 to start the year. So that would be an argument against. Yeah, personally, I think he's a good coach. Outside of X's and O's, a coach needs to be able to relate to the players. And it's kind of similar to teaching, because I come from a teaching background, and I see Kerr as a really good teacher, and that he's able to take guys aside and explain to them what they did wrong, as opposed to some other coaches where they might just brush it under the rug, or they'll yell at their players in like a harsh way, which some players might not respond well to. I think Kerr does a good job of encouraging his players, creating that atmosphere. I think he has 4 core beliefs that he's been using since he came into coaching. They've been like mindfulness, joy, competitiveness, and I think I forget the last one, but he's done a good job of implementing that in the culture. And he said something interesting a few days ago, that a culture is not a culture if it leaves when you start losing, that it has to remain through losing years. That's how you know you've built a good culture. And evidence of the Warriors having that is that they had a losing year a couple years ago, when no Steph, no Klay, KD just left, and they only won 15 games all year. and they still had maintained that culture through that year. And then last year, when it's just Steph and the guys, they maintain that culture, even though they were like a middling team, 8 seed team. And now when you have the pieces back, then they can get back to their winning ways. And that culture has always been there of playing with joy and playing hard no matter the circumstances. So I'm a fan of Kerr. I can see how some people would have criticisms of him that he may be just a figurehead. And I get that. I like how he relates to the players.
Calvin, when you look at Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant was on the
All of Smoke,
All of Smoke show, we actually took a line that he said, and it's so funny because what's his name again? Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes said to Kevin Durant that it was always Kevin Durant, then Golden State. Kevin Durant was Golden State when they won those 2 titles. He was the best player on the court. He was the MVP every single year that they won the championship. And he never got the respect, not only from the Golden State fans, but he never got the respect from the league. Everybody said he went there to win championships. He didn't go over there to be a leader to win championships and become a phenomenal franchise organization to win multiple championships. When you look at Kevin Durant, and obviously that probably was the reason why he decided to go play with Kyrie instead of staying and playing with Steph. When you look at Kevin Durant and what Kevin Durant has said over the last couple of weeks, and really what Kevin Durant is doing right now in Brooklyn, do you believe that Kevin Durant was the Golden State Warriors when he was in Golden State?
Yeah, he was coming into that 73-win team in 2016. I remember KD saying he always felt like it was KD and the Warriors, right? It wasn't like you were saying he was not the Warriors. It was always him and then everyone else. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that drove him away, right? He didn't like that Steph was getting all the attention, or not just specifically Steph, but that other guys, role players, like I think one time he said he didn't like that Mo Spates had a nickname like Mo Buckets and the fans loved him, but he didn't have like that kind of nickname. And so he said he felt it. He always knew it was going towards a separation. Was he the Golden State Warriors? I think he fit well into their system. And then what a luxury when the system breaks down, just throw it to KD. He can ISO one-on-one and get you buckets anytime. And yeah, he won Finals MVP both for the times with him. That second year, Steph gave him a run for his money that second year. I think he got like four votes for Finals MVP. He averaged like 20, 27, 6 and 6, something like that. But yeah, I think KD fit well into the system. I think how he's viewed on the Warriors is always, people are always kind of fogged up in how they view it because of how he got there, because of him leaving OKC, people calling it one of the weakest, softest moves of all time. And so I think that kind of clouds people's judgment and how they viewed him. And so he thought winning a chip, beating LeBron, people would consider him as the best player in the world now. But that didn't happen, partly because maybe how people saw him and they didn't agree with the reason why he went. They thought it was a soft move. And so, yeah, I thought he was a great fit, but wasn't what KD wanted. He said he thought a championship would fulfill him. He said he thought it'd be more fulfilling than this, and it wasn't. Yeah, now he gets to go play with his friends, Kyrie, DeAndre Jordan over in Brooklyn. I'm happy for him.